Hi Year 11, welcome to the Success in the AQA Performing Arts Technical Award session. Just a couple of minutes, really just with a few tips and strategies how to maximise your potential really in this final year, and also let you know a couple of changes that have happened due to the recent pandemic with the qualification. So we're going to talk about, first of all, Unit 1, which is 30% of the qualification. How can you ensure success in this unit? So first of all, you can see there what is required. You should know by now that Unit 1 is the largest unit. As a result of that, that's why we spend the majority of the schedule of focus on this unit. The evidence that must be submitted for Unit 1 to the exam board that will be moderated includes the recorded performance / pitch in your groups, alongside a supporting portfolio. The portfolio is a substantial document and should expand in detail on what is presented in the pitch. So the pitch is essentially a condensed version of your portfolio. And really, I do think that the portfolio will get more, there'll be more weighting on that really, with what they expect from that recent changes. So they'll expect that to be tip top really to get your distinctions. So tips for success in that. You've all been given portfolio guidance on numerous occasions, and this includes what needs to be included in a checklist format, and this should be used regularly from yourselves. It's up to you. You know, you have ownership on that. It really should be used regularly. Use that, cross-reference. If the work's not there, it's going to impact on your mark. It's as simple as that, because that is a checklist created by me that covers what needs to be in there to get the best grades. Detail and explaining points that you make is very important to reach those higher grades. If you make a point or a statement, it should always be followed by a reason. It can just be a little sentence that just justifies what you mean. It might be a why, it might be a, you know, how you're going to do that sort of thing. The portfolio should present a creative journey that references and links throughout. So basically what I'm saying is the first page of your portfolio should be point A right at the beginning, some workshop evaluations, or it might be the introducing the stimuluses you were presenting with. And then from then on, it should take the next step. It should be clear to a stranger, if you like, what your creative journey was. It's an A to Z of that journey. It must present an expertise on 2 specific job roles. You've chosen your design role and your performance role. So you're off stage and you're on stage basically. And the portfolio, as well as the pitch, should really show an expertise on that. So detail. The main focus should be on those 2 roles. However, there should also be evidence that you've considered other job responsibilities as well. So for example, you know, if set design is not one of your specialisms, you might just have 1 page in your document where you've got some set design ideas, or you might even have some existing images of set designs and just annotate why you think it's effective, what's not effective, and so on and so on. Even though those extra bits won't be as detailed, if you like, as those 2 specialisms, at the end of the day, the more knowledge you show, the better, and the more that will reflect on your marks. This is very important. Use theatrical and subject terminology always. Okay, you know, talk about body language, talk about facial expression, talk about proximity. Use subject terminology, because at the end of the day, some of the marks that you're awarded for the portfolio and the pitch is based on your knowledge, and what better way to show that you've got knowledge by using the correct terminology. And finally, this is not essential, but I want you to make it neat. The portfolio should be attractive. I should want to read it. and it should be presentable. I don't want to be looking at untidy, boring portfolios, quite frankly. Okay, so that's Unit 1. Unit 2 is simply the performance. There will be 3 short essays that go with it, but they'll be done in class. And these are just, again, your creative journeys, really. A response to the stimulus, how you've developed your performance in rehearsal, and then finally a final evaluation on your performance. You must specialise in a performance role and demonstrate that skill. So that could be acting, it could be dancing, it could be singing. I will strongly recommend that you specialise in what you think you're the best at. Now, I will, of course, sort of push you in one direction. You know, I will, if I think your skill is acting, I will push you down that route. I will also give you existing published pieces that will get the best out of you based on my knowledge of you. So if I think you're a good comedy actor, for example, that's what I will suggest you do. Again, this is worth 30% of the overall qualification. And I'm saying they're worth 30%, Unit 1 and 2, but later on you'll see why it's really important to focus on Unit 1 and 2. So tips for success in this unit. This is quite straightforward, really. It's for performance, so you rehearse as much as possible. You will want out of lesson time, and that's why you have got the Tuesday after school in room 45 in the sports hall with myself. That's our intervention time, and I highly recommend you use that, not just for Unit 2, but also for Unit 1. You should be getting a letter about that soon, but that will be Tuesday after school. Any lines that you're learning, so for example, if you're not dancing, then lines. If you're dancing, then there won't be lines to learn. But if you've got a script, learn lines as soon as possible. Don't leave it to the last minute. You want to be off script ASAP. Go overboard with it. Exaggerate everything you do. If you over exaggerate things, if it's too much, it can be tamed. It can be brought back down. But if you're presenting too little, it can't be developed as well. It's better to be over the top to start with. You will be placed in groups for Unit 2 or given a solo piece by ourselves. And this will be done based on group cohesion, who I think you will work better with, not necessarily who you get on better with. And that will be done to draw your maximum potential out. For the milestone essays, I'm not going to go into too much detail about it, but again, like Unit 1, it's about the detail. As though a stranger is reading it and has not seen your performance and should be able to envision that performance. Evaluation skills are really key, and again, subject terminology. You'll notice that I've sort of starred the where it says you can have a solo piece. That is recent changes by AQA because of the obviously COVID pandemic. As it was initially, you had to be in a group, but they have now allowed solo pieces, so you can do a monologue, for example. Unit 3, the written exam, 40% of the overall grade, and is the only unit that is externally marked. Now, again, you can see there, due to the COVID pandemic and the fact you were registered to sit the exam in year 10, you don't have to do it. So that's, you haven't got that added pressure. However, on the flip side of that, it means that your Unit 3 award, what you're awarded, will be completely governed by Unit 1 and 2 grades. So you've got to strive to achieve and do the best you possibly can in Unit 1 and 2, because that will completely dictate what you get as your overall grade, essentially, because Unit 3 will be awarded based on Unit 1 and 2 scores. So, for example, if in Unit 1 and 2 you get 2 distinctions, you will be awarded a distinction for Unit 3. So you'll come out with a distinction overall. Well, actually, based on that, you'd probably come out with a distinction star. So strive to do the best you can on Unit 1 and 2. It could be seen as a positive or a negative. You can't rely on Unit 3 to change final outcome. So do your best. And that's it. That brings us to an end, really. If you've got any questions or anything like that, just send me an email. I'm happy to answer, any questions to the best of my knowledge. And I'd just suggest you use the intervention time on a Tuesday evening. Okay, thank you. Bye.